Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lipstick, Lies, and Liberation. This is a podcast with Amber and Sam. We are sisters, and we're so excited to talk about all things women's empowerment, dating, relationships, and the lies that society tells women that we are breaking free from, finding liberation, and creating our lives on our own terms. So, today we are talking about the moment we knew we were settling. This is with past relationships, not the ones we are currently in.
Or
But
not in.
what?
I said, or not in, single over
Or
here.
not. Yeah. So yeah, Amber, would you like to start on the moment you knew you were settling? Oh no, we're gonna get into our segments.
Oh, yeah, let's do our segments where we
So you
do
can
our
edit that.
lipstick, lies, and liberation for the week. So, do you want to go first?
Yes. So my lipstick for the week, which I'm so excited. I love vintage designer bags, vintage designer shoes, and I got on eBay. eBay is the best Japanese eBay, but I got these vintage Prada little zebra kitten heels, and they're so cute. I'm obsessed with them. I just need to take them to the cobbler to
So
get
cute.
the little heel thingies changed, but yeah,
The
they're so
cobbler.
cute.
That sounds like you're from like 1940s.
Girl, everyone takes their shoes to the cobbler. We just grew up with parents who didn't own anything that you could take to a
But
cobbler.
do we still call it a cobbler? There isn't like a more updated term for that?
No, it's just called a cobbler, a shoe cobbler.
Cobbler. So like you could like meet somebody and they're like, "What do you do?" And you're like, "I'm a cobbler."
Yes.
Okay, because like I think of pies. Like
No,
make me
cobblers are the
hungry.
best. If you're not taking your shoes to the cobbler, like you're wasting money because it's like
Okay.
I know you have leather boots and things. What do you do when like the heels wear off or like
Well,
things
I don't know if
happen?
you remember, I was in a 16-year marriage and I have three kids, so I didn't wear my nice shoes or my heels or my boots very often. So I have been the last like year and a half, so maybe I will need a cobbler, but it
Yeah.
hasn't been an issue for me.
Yeah. Well, they also can fix like bags or
Mm.
belts or like leather goods. Okay, and my lie is actually still like a lighthearted, fun one, which is Coach bags are like incredible.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but like I feel like in high school, Coach bags were everything, and like when you
Yeah.
were in high school especially, and
Yeah.
when my like our mom was like when she was an adult and she had all this like Coach stuff and it was really cute and but yeah, and then it kind of became this like I don't know, just like oh, that's Coach. Like I
Yeah,
just
it was like a cheaper like luxury thing, you know.
yeah, you would just look at it and be like, oh, okay, that's like Coach. That's like who would want that? And
Hmm.
since buying vintage like designer stuff, I've actually been finding like I really, really love some Coach stuff, like their designs and yeah, their quality. So that's been a lie that like their stuff is low quality or like not worth it. Um,
Okay.
so that's been fun. I started a little collection so far. And then my liberation is a celebration where I completed my level two Psych K training,
Yay.
psychology kinesiology, which is it's the modality that I used to rewire my brain when I was healing from POTS to like go back to normal and to feel safe in my body and to feel like I could do things. And like I really credit Psych K for like saving my life and allowing me to like be a human again. And yeah, and so I'm just so excited to like be able to use it to help other people with it because it's the fastest and easiest way to transform a limiting belief and to just rewire your brain. And our subconscious programming is what controls our life. So it's like stories. Something so interesting though that someone said on TikTok, which I was very, I've only ever heard one other person say this, and it was Shaman Durek. But when you have like a positive thought in our heads, usually it's like, I'm so pretty, or like, I feel so good today, or man, I really can do that. I can do anything I put my mind to. If it's a positive thing, it's usually I am or
Hmm.
I. But then when it's a negative thing, it's like, you're not good enough. You're too big, or like, you're not pretty, or no one likes you. It's always you,
Mm.
which
Okay.
is like, that's an external voice because it's you.
Yeah. So it's
Because
like
there's
you
like,
telling yourself. Yeah.
Well, no, it's like you heard it.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not coming from within, which is the I,
Yeah.
but the you is like external voices that you heard and they're not your own.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I've only ever heard someone talk about it, but the way this person phrased it was like really, I was like, what? It just like sunk in even more.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, but Shaman Durek, it's interesting. He always says like if you when you write affirmations, you should write them in the you form because you're always transforming messages that you heard from other people, not your own,
Hmm.
usually. So like if you're gonna write an affirmation, it's like you are so beautiful or like you can do anything rather than like I can do anything because it's like I know because I is like creator consciousness, like God consciousness, like God living within us. So, yeah, anyway, I thought that was really cool and it ties into Psyche and just like mindset and your brain and how it controls so much of our beautiful lives. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Amber, would you like to go? What's your
Well,
lipstick?
congratulations. It's a very big accomplishment. So
Yeah.
I love that. Um,
Thank you.
I think my lipstick lie and liberation this week all came all in the same evening from like
Wow.
one night. So I went on a date a little bit ago and I had it from that whole night. So my lipstick was, I was sitting there talking to him, very nice, great conversation. And like 20 minutes in, he was just like, wow, you're just so pretty. And I was like, what? And he was like, you're just so pretty. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I just keep thinking it and it just came out. And he's like, you're just so pretty. And so I was like, okay, thank you, And then, like, 30 minutes later, he was like, your eyes are just so warm and kind and just like really nice compliments that seemed like genuine.
Yeah.
And like really sweet. So that was like a lipstick for me. Like
Oh,
it made me feel good. It made me feel pretty,
yeah.
like it felt sincere. And then like the liberation part kind of happened because I've gone on some dates and I think when you get out of a relationship, which I got out of a serious one a couple months ago, it feels so crushing sometimes. Like
Mhm.
when you've centered someone into your life as much as I did, which I probably shouldn't have. But
Yeah.
and it just leaves you feeling like there's nobody else out there. You'll never be happy. Like,
Yeah.
and I think everybody can kind of get those insecurities.
Mhm.
And it was like a liberation and like, well, it was more of a lie because I realized all these things I told myself weren't true. That it's
Yeah.
kind of like something you say all the time that there's so much love out there and there's
Yeah.
plenty of love for everybody. And like the last couple weeks, I've just realized like there are plenty of men who will show up and love someone the right way,
Yeah.
and treat someone the right way. So that was a lie. I realized I had been telling myself that wasn't true. And then liberation was I left that date and I went home and it was just me and my dog. And I watched Sex in the City and I drank
Oh,
wine. Shout out to Sarah Jessica Parker and the girls. And I was just like, I had a great date. I had a great day before that. And I was in my house and I was comfortable and I was drinking wine and I was rewatching the show. I started rewatching the series because it's on Netflix
yeah.
now. And I just felt liberation because I was
Yeah.
like, I had a fantastic day and I didn't need it to end with feeling like I was developing some big relationship with a man or continuing to hang out with a man after the date. Like I was so
Yeah.
content by myself, had a great time. So it felt very liberating.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love it.
And I'm just excited for other women to get there because I feel like when you're in long relationships or like I would consider myself like a serial monogamous, like I go from
Yeah.
one serious relationship to another. Like this is my
Boys.
first true time dating in my life at 42. It feels really good to be like I could feel so good without having that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a
Hmm.
liberation.
That is definitely something to celebrate.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who's your favorite character?
In Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Okay. So it might be an age thing. So when it first came out, to give an idea, I think
Mhm.
I was like late high school, maybe early college. Um,
Yeah.
and Charlotte was my favorite.
Yeah. Oh,
She's very proper. She's looking to get married, set up that wedding.
yeah.
I didn't really have all those thoughts that young because I was never the kind of girl who was like dreaming of my wedding or thinking about stuff like that. it wasn't until like I met my fiance and then started to have kids that I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want. Like I love being a mom. But so I
Yeah.
really connected with Charlotte and I liked her and I think I liked her style and I thought she was like so pretty. They're all pretty, but
Yeah.
so she was my favorite. But now it's kind of like Carrie or Samantha.
Yeah.
And I really like how liberated Samantha is. And she just
Yeah.
does what she wants, when she wants, what's going to make
Yeah.
her happy, and has all these like really cool views. So I kind of like Carrie struggles a little bit because I think
Yeah.
like she knows she's making a bad decision, but she doesn't stop herself. And I feel like I can relate to that sometimes.
Yeah.
Where Samantha's like, I don't care if it's a bad decision because it's still a good decision for me because it's not going to really
Yes.
affect her emotionally like that.
Yeah.
So those two are definitely more my main character. And I feel like I don't relate to Charlotte as much anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
And Miranda's very cool too, but definitely those two right now. How about you?
Yeah. Miranda's so funny.
Yeah.
And yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we should do an episode on Sex in the City.
We
That'd be so
should.
fun.
We'll do that soon. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let us know if you would like that. Give us a comment or an email or something. But that'd be, yeah, that'd be a ton of fun. I love that. That's an amazing, liberating moment to be like, I went out, had a date. It was a nice experience, but it's not your whole world. And you come home and you're like enjoying yourself and centering yourself and just like relaxing and like having peace.
Yeah, like I wasn't worried about is he gonna message me? Is it and he did, like
Yeah.
right away and then the next morning. But I wasn't worried about any of that. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that was a good time. Like he was cool to talk to,
Yeah.
and then I had a great time just by myself.
So good.
Yeah.
Huge. Okay, amazing. Now let's get into the moment we knew we were settling.
Mhm.
And um I think for me with this topic, I'm gonna center around one real oh no, I'll mention something from another relationship. So two relationships. Okay, maybe three. I don't I really only plan to talk about the one, but there are like two other moments from two other relationships that they weren't they were still big ahas, but I feel like it'll be helpful maybe for someone to frame them. But yeah, Amber, I think you have two that you were thinking of maybe or
Yeah.
one.
Probably my marriage and then
Yeah.
the relationship I had after because there were definitely times in both those relationships that I realized I was settling, but it
Yeah.
took me a while for that to be enough for me to walk away.
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
think that's
like
hard too.
yeah, for you like to realize that it was enough for you to walk away, not
Mhm.
because like to center your own emotions and to realize that because you wanted to walk away, that was a good enough reason as well.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, there were many reasons, but like
Mhm.
also taking your own self into consideration, which is not something you are used to.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so there's a quote I would love to read that is very applicable. Um, but it yeah. So maybe someone would be able to relate to this right now, but it's from Cheryl Strayed, who wrote the book Wild
Mhm.
and Tiny Beautiful Things, Advice from Dear Sugar. Both of those books were turned into movies. Have you seen Wild, Amber?
I have not.
It's with Reese Witherspoon. It's really
Yeah.
good. I think you would like it. And then Tiny Beautiful Things, I think it was maybe a TV series. That also was really good. I remember I cried a lot. It's very like heart it's very touching
Yeah.
and like anyone can relate to it even if you haven't been through the exact scenarios. So this is a quote from Tiny Beautiful Things, advice from Dear Sugar, where this woman who like her life is basically in shambles, but then she takes over her friend's advice column because she needs money. But
Hmm.
then she just ends up like writing her true feelings and like it actually is like really beautiful advice and like helps people, but she's like, "Oh my God, I'm the worst advice person," because
Because my
she's just
life's in
like,
shambles.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, who would want to listen to me? And like she's giving them like her opinion, like not like, like it's not a therapist response.
Yeah.
So but the quote goes, Go even though you love him. Go even though he's kind and faithful and dear to you. Go even though he's your best friend and you're his. Go even though you can't imagine your life without him. Go even though he adores you and your leaving would devastate him. Go even though your friends will be disappointed or surprised or pissed off or all three. Go even though you once said you would stay. Go even though you're afraid of being alone. Go even though you're sure no one will ever love you as well as he does. Go even though there's nowhere to go. Go even though you don't know exactly why you can't stay. Go because you want to, because wanting to leave is enough. And I just love that
Love
quote because
that.
I think as women, we like really were conditioned through patriarchy to center everyone else and
Hmm.
especially to center men. And the last line of like, go even like just because you want to, because wanting to is enough.
Hmm.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that permission.
I feel like that's really important. I love that. That's a beautiful poem. And like, I feel like you said to me a lot during my marriage and like during other relationships that I had. Like, I would come to you and be like, I felt like I always had to like justify my feelings, like if I didn't like something, because I did hold my partner's feelings so high, and I
Yeah.
think that you should, like, that should be important to you. But I
Yeah.
always held my partner's feelings higher than my own. So, like, if
Hmm.
something would happen and I wouldn't like it, I would like have a hard time being like, well, why should I change this or disrupt this or, like not let him have his way just because I want something different. And you used to always say to me, like, if it doesn't feel good, that's enough. Like, if it doesn't
Yeah.
make you happy, that's enough. And that was like really hard for me to let that sink in. But I think it was really powerful and good advice. And it's something that like I did start to use.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, can you kind of imagine like it's interesting because things do take time to kind of marinate when it's new, and that was new. Like I remember having that realization like, "Oh my God, my feelings matter." Like
yeah. And that
and they
sounds so
matter to me.
simple.
Yeah, and like they matter to me.
Yeah. And it makes me actually happy. And I think like as women, like you
Yeah.
were saying, like we are conditioned to like, I mean, think about it. Like even like our little girls, their toys are a
Mhm.
kitchen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
come sit down, Dad, so I can make you food and I can pretend to wash the dishes and that makes me feel good. And then the boys are over there with like guns and trucks and basketballs and you know what I mean? And then,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm done my kitchen. Give me my baby doll. Now I'm going to take care
Yeah.
of that. I just took care of this person with my kitchen. Now I'm taking care of this person with my baby doll. And these are all like
Mhm.
beautiful, feminine, good things. But
Yeah.
I think that it just becomes like conditioning in a way.
Yeah.
Like I saw a
Absolutely.
video on Instagram with a dad that I follow, and
Mhm.
he basically says like, bringing up his daughters, right? So like your dusty son doesn't impress them.
Yeah.
He's amazing, and like the way he treats his wife and all the things that he posts. I wish his name wasn't escaping me right now, but he actually like I saw him like do a segment where he was talking about his daughter's kitchen, and but then like he also helped, and like he
Yeah.
also made stuff, and he served her, and like and like
Mhm.
so it seems so simple, but I think from a young age, like I was taught, very traditional things,
Yeah.
and like they just continued every time I got into a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because when you're begging for someone to care about your emotions, like that's the cycle I got into in my
Mhm.
younger relationships that were unhealthy is like I would be begging for them to like care about how I felt because they hurt my feelings. And it's
Mhm.
so interesting because it's like the person you're actually begging to care is yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's who you're really begging to care because like if you don't care enough to center your own emotions and like not accept behavior that hurts you, then
Mhm.
like why would that person care? And so
Yeah.
it's like it really is a you have to put the horse before the cart thing or else you're not going to go anywhere. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, and it's and it's
It's
just
true. And I
yeah.
feel like that's such an interesting point because I feel like I know. when I have moved on from a relationship and I'm completely done with this person and like disconnected, when I get to the point where I don't feel like I need to explain my feelings anymore. Like when
Mm.
my divorce first happened and my ex-husband has a lot of narcissistic tendencies and like personality traits, and like he would twist things and he would say things and he would make things seem like they happened that they didn't. But there'd always
Yeah.
be like a little bit of truth, or like I would get upset about something. And it happened in our marriage too, and he wouldn't agree with me. And I would feel the need to be like, I want you to understand me. I need you to understand that's not how it was. Like, you hurt me and you don't understand. Please understand. And then I got to a point with him where I was like, I don't care what he's thinking. I
Yeah.
don't care that he's twisting this story anymore. I don't care that he's telling people things that are wrong. I don't care that he's looking at me like I'm some person I'm not, because I literally don't care anymore. And I will not explain what I need or my feelings to anybody.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm done with him. And then that
Yeah.
happened in the relationship that I left too. Like there was such a need to be like, understand me, understand what happened. Like, like you're twisting things.
Yeah.
It's not what happened. That's not who I am. And like now I'm at a point where I'm like, why did I waste so much energy on that?
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
so interesting because I'm thinking about like, does Ben, my fiance, like, do I worry about him misunderstanding me? And I don't.
See, and I feel like that's such a clear sign that you're in a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
because it means he listens to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that he cares about your feelings. I feel like when you're in a relationship with somebody who is obsessed with their self or
Mm-hmm.
has a big ego or has to be right, they can't even hear you. So like
Yeah.
I realize like I'm just wasting my brain, like I'm wasting my
Yeah.
thoughts, I'm wasting everything, because like this person will never hear me because they don't want to, or they literally just don't have the capacity or the
Yeah.
emotional ability to get there maturely.
Or the
And
brain cells or the IQ.
I mean, we all know, I didn't want to say it, but and it brings me back to the
Yeah.
thing like where I truly have learned, and like you've helped me learn, that people can
Mhm.
only meet you where they're at.
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes for me, like I'm very empathetic, I'm very loving, I'm very nurturing. And then so when I don't get that back, it's hard for me to understand. And before I would like chase it, but now I
Yeah.
understand like, okay, like this person isn't capable of that.
Yes.
They're not. They're more like self-centered or ego-centered, and that's okay, but that's not for me.
Yes. It's not a green light. It's not a yellow light. It's a stop, turn around, delete their number, throw any shred of feelings for them in the trash. And this is a little shameless self-promotion, but if you want to make these shifts because you are a really generous, caring, kind, amazing woman, that is who I work with in the in my dating course. Like that's who it's
Mhm.
for because again, like my sister, like I, like our mother, like our like every woman fucking ever, we try too much,
Mhm.
we give too much, and then we end up with losers who are abusive. And if you
Mhm.
want to actually attract someone like my fiance who is amazing and safe and like a knight and treats me like a queen, and I feel like just, yeah, a million positive attributes. But that is what the dating course does. It like helps you rewire those beliefs, helps you like notice toxic behavior and how to attract someone who actually is amazing because, yeah, too many women who are spiritual and giving and try to create like resolution get stuck in these patterns. And it's like, it's such a waste of time. And like, this is your one precious, beautiful life on
Mhm.
earth. And like, we don't have time to be spending it with someone who's like treating us with cruelty. Honestly, it's like, it's cruel
Yeah, I
how,
can say for sure I've experienced cruelty from men that I loved. And I
yeah,
will say, like, I do think like your course is so helpful because like all the guidance you gave me, like little by little, it all started to sink in. And it
yeah.
really did help. And it's hard, but you get there and then you're
Yeah.
happier.
It is hard because I do feel like you have to hear it over and over again and you have to apply it like while you're going through it and like while you're dating, or else it's just like it's not going to make sense. Like you taught yourself everything you learned, but like you had to kind of like be open to perceiving things differently as you were going through it, and you were. And so like
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, you did everything, but it just was like you were just ready for a new story. And
I mean, but
I'm
I
so
feel like
glad I
once
don't have
you
to watch you be mistreated anymore because
Well,
it's
I
so
do think
fucking
back to
worse.
that. Like, I am in such a fantastic place right now. I will
Mm.
say, in like the last decade, like right now, I am probably the happiest I have been. I
Yeah.
feel so good, and I'm not in a relationship. And so you would
Yeah.
think like, oh my gosh, there's this huge part of your life, and like you're 42, and like, are you gonna be
Yeah.
alone? And but I am so happy and content. And I sometimes I look back and I think of the things I told my sister Sam, and I'm like, it must have been so hard for her. She probably got off the phone and was like, why doesn't she listen to me? Why she said she wasn't going to go back to him, and here they are again. She said she was going to tell him this that she needs, and here we are again. And I cannot tell you how many times Samantha has told me to block somebody, and I have blocked them, but then I've unblocked them, and then like a month later, I'll be like, "Can you believe so and so messaged me?" And she goes, "Well, how did they message you, Amber? You said you blocked them." And I'm like, "Oh, well, one night I was thinking about them, and I was like, oh, everything's better. I'll just unblock them for right now." So you are a
Yeah.
saint and very helpful, but I
Oh,
do think as like women, sometimes like I just had to get there and I
yeah.
put myself through way more than I should have. I accepted way more than I should have. I lowered my standards. I mean, into the dirt,
Hmm.
basically. And I had to do that to get to the point where I am now. And it sucked and it was painful and it was hard and it was probably infuriating for you to watch,
Yeah.
but I got there and everybody
Yeah.
will get there.
Hmm.
It's just how much you're going to go through before you start loving yourself and putting yourself first and like knowing what you deserve. Like I will
Yeah,
not
like
standards anymore.
when is enough enough? Because so many women wait till like they'll see the signs of like being disrespected, being like hurt or disregarded or abused, and they have a certain pain threshold that they
Mm.
wait for that to be met in order for them to leave. And it's like, why not actually just leave the first sign of them not caring about you? Like, why? Like, and
Yeah.
that's where you'll get to everyone, like, not you in
Yeah.
particular, even though, like, yes, both of us have gone through that, but like, every woman will get, and like men too, but every woman, has to learn that. I remember saying to you, like, this well, first of all, there were so many times when we got off the call that I was like, I called up a guy friend and I was like, I might need to drive to New Jersey and like beat some people up. Would you come? And they were like, I'm there. Because in
Oh,
Virginia, I'm in Virginia and like their dating can be hard anywhere, but there are much more chivalrous
yeah.
men in Virginia. So like I had friends, like male friends who like if I told them just a shred of like what Amber was experiencing, they would have been like, I've got my pitchfork and my guns, let's go. Like they like
And you
they
know
were
what? I
not
probably would have needed that. Like,
yeah. No, they were like, I'm ready to say the word. There were so many times I was like, I'll let you know in the next 24 hours like whether I need to go or not. But yeah, and then but I remember saying to you like I know this is like so terrible, but also I'm so excited because this is gonna lead you to a place where like you're gonna be so strong and you're gonna be your own best friend and you're not gonna let anyone treat you like in a bad way again because you are gonna learn from this and we again we all have to go
yeah.
through that. I mean, some people have good examples and don't have to go through that but just I can't
Mhm.
relate to that. So,
Well, I
yeah.
know, and I like respect and like admire those kind of women who like
Yeah.
just from the bat, they know what they want, they know where their standards are and their boundaries, and they're not willing to compromise because
Yeah.
they know like they deserve what they deserve and they deserve to be treated well and be in a loving relationship. Um, so yeah, it's hard. And like I'm sure there's a lot of women like watching this and listening thinking like I'm in a like they're in a relationship now and they know their standards aren't being met and they know they've tolerated way more than they should, but they're just not ready to leave yet because there are so many insecurities, so many fears when you do something like that, especially after it's like a long established relationship. So hopefully some of our examples will help them and like give them confidence too, because
Yeah.
I've completely started over twice at this point with lives that I thought were forever that weren't. And it's devastating, it can be really hard.
Yeah. So hang in there, girls. You've got great tits. You're beautiful and and you can do anything.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
That's
I know that's
right.
right. But so, okay, so that's a perfect segue. I feel like I'll share one of my moments I knew I was settling.
Okay.
Um, So this was with a relationship. I had three long-term relationships that were like 3.5 years, all of them. And I lived with all three of these people. And so this was one of those people. And we were both bartenders and we both worked at the same place. But sometimes we worked different shifts and they would sleep in until like 4 p.m. and it was like winter time, like the sun goes down at 4 p.m.
Mm,
And so I would wake up and like go try to be in the day, like have
mhm,
a day and get some sunshine and like get out of the house. And he would wake up and call me and be like, "Where are you? Like, why aren't you here?" And would be, I don't know, and it would make me feel like nervous, like I had to be there
mm. That's
the
not a good
moment he woke
sign.
up. And also, so that same bar, they were firing all the couples because it was like a nightclub, and
Mm,
they wanted all the bartenders to be like single. And if they weren't single, they wanted like because there were like four couples who were working there. So they were like one person from each couple has to go. And you can choose who it is, which like I'm pretty sure that's illegal. But I think they did a lot of things that were illegal at this
Yeah.
bar. But anyway, so I left because that was right after I had my like life-threatening experience and I got sober and like stopped wearing makeup and went vegan and like stopped buying products made by slaves and just like I just realized like if I were to have died, like I wouldn't have been proud of myself. So I changed a lot of things overnight and I was like, okay, I'll be the one to quit. I'll go get a different job. And we decided that together. So anyway, so he was working there alone and like would be out late drinking till like 10 a.m. with like all of these different women and people and like other girls who worked there. And but anyway, so the moment I knew I was settling, there were many, but the moment I knew I was settling, this is why friends, like being in toxic relationships, it is so important to still have your friends and like still keep them as important because
Very important.
very important because I had a friend who she was a therapist and she said to me, she was like, Sam, like, I don't want to overstep, but I've noticed patterns of abuse in your relationship. And
Wow. That's a
yeah, and
good friend. That's
he had,
hard to do.
yeah,
Very
we
hard
were
to
out
do.
at a coffee shop and he woke up
Yeah.
and told me, and I like got really nervous and hung up and like, I was like, okay, I have to go home. And like, but we had
Yeah.
only been there like 15 minutes,
Mm,
like
yeah.
hanging out and
I've
talking. And it
experienced stuff
was,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, I was in my mid 20s. Yeah, mid 20s at the time. And so and the person I was with was like 30. But yeah, so she was like, I've noticed patterns of abuse in your relationship. And it was like something clicked when she said that. Like I was like, whoa. Because sometimes I just like am so like you like so focused on like the other person and like so focused on the dynamic and I like that I really really appreciate outside perspectives, not that I decide based on other perspectives, but I do take it in and think about it. And I'm a triple Aquarius. No one is telling me what to do, like
Hmm.
no
That's so
one.
funny. I'm a triple Sagittarius.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So funny. Okay.
Yeah, well, not your moon though, right?
No, it is. All of them are.
All of them.
Hmm.
Okay, mine's different. Mine's Sun, Rising, and Venus
Okay.
is all Aquarius, but that's still, those are very like prominent. Like your Venus is very prominent. I forget what your Venus is in. I remember looking it up before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. We'll have to have an episode talking about our astrology.
Oh, yeah. I love astrology. We'll have to do that for sure.
Maybe we can have an expert come on. That'd be so
That would
fun.
be great. Yeah.
Let us know if you would like that.
Which,
Another.
by the way, now that I'm dating, like I'll
Yeah.
casually find out the guy's birthday
Yes.
and be like, and figure out what sign they are because, like, I
Yes.
dated a Pisces once and I don't want to go down that road again.
No. Pisces, no.
A
Cancer,
lot of
no.
emotion.
Scorpio, no. Capricorn, no.
Hmm.
Gemini for me is a no.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
fun.
something to look into, ladies. If you don't believe us, like seriously, like look at it. You might have a type and you might have a type
Yes.
you need to stay away from. So,
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was the moment I knew I was settling was it just helped me kind of awaken from this like spell and see what she was saying. And I was like, oh my fucking God, she's right. And like, what am I doing? And what is this? And
Mhm.
so then I got a different job and I moved out. And he even said to me, like, I don't want you to get a different job and like have your own money because I think you'll leave me. Like he he even said that. And
Well,
so
people
then
tell the truth sometimes and we ignore it.
yes, yeah.
But like, how
Um,
healthy is that relationship that he doesn't want you to have your own money, your own career, your own
choice.
ability? Yes, that way
Yeah.
you have a choice. Like, and what
Yeah.
kind of man, like if you look at it, what kind of man are you with if they want to take those things away from you to prevent you from having a choice? It's one thing
Yeah.
if you're with like a provider who like loves you and it's like, oh, your job's so stressful, like you could quit if you want, I got you. Like this was
Mhm.
something different, you know?
Yeah. Like I want you to not have a choice that like you have to be with me.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big moment. Yeah, a big moment that was like changed everything. So it was like a week, within a week, I act fast. So
Mhm.
within a week, we had broken up and I found an apartment, a room, and I moved
Good.
out. And it was sketchy. It was a $300 a month room in this like scary area in Philly where you would hear gunshots every day.
Was that the one
Um,
across from the church?
yeah, the
And there were other guys living there or something?
yes, I had two guy roommates.
Okay, so Samantha was very independent and she lived in Philly for a long time and she had a lot of different places and I would visit her and there was one place and I think it's the place she's referencing that I was like, this is amazing. It's so cute. We spent our day together. I got in my car and I cried the whole way home because I just thought, I can't believe my sister is living here. I can't believe she's
Oh,
living here by herself. I just wanted to scoop you up, have you move in with me. I know it's not what you wanted, but I
why
did.
didn't you tell me that?
Because I knew you weren't going to be happy with me in the suburbs. That wasn't you. That wasn't what you wanted. And you were independent and you were excited. But God,
Yeah.
yeah, I cried.
Well, I'll
Did.
tell you why I was excited. I was excited because, because my two guy friends that I was living with were like really cool and awesome.
Yeah, they seemed nice, or else I would have definitely plucked you out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they seemed good. I didn't feel weird about them because I met
Yeah, they had my back. They were very caring and
them.
yeah, they would have done anything
Yeah.
for me if I needed it. They were very safe, awesome friends. I feel so lucky in Philly. I had so many incredible male friends who were genuine friends who like if someone came into the group and tried to hit on me or be weird, they'd be like, you don't do that to Sam. Like
Yeah,
that,
good.
yeah, like they would be like, don't even make it weird. Don't even
Yeah.
try. Like,
Don't even look at
like
her.
just don't ruin it. Like just
Yeah.
keep normal. And yeah, it was like, because it was the jazz community. So it was like 15, 30 guys who all knew each other
Yeah.
and was friends with all of them. And like, it just, and there were women too. There's just in jazz, there aren't as many women, unfortunately. But yeah, I had amazing male friends in Philly and not as amazing. That scenario is very different here in Richmond, which is interesting. But anyway, yeah, no good boyfriends in Philly, but lots of good guy friends. But yeah, I was excited because there was an empty lot next to the house. So a lot of wildflowers and herbs were growing there, and I had studied herbalism, and there was a veggie, like a raised garden bed that my roommate had built. And then in the backyard there was a fire pit, and then there was a dog park field right behind the house. And then across the street was a public garden that was like on it was small, but this old lady maintained it and it was right next to the church and the church people also helped maintain it and it had like trees that would flower in the
Yeah.
spring and like so even though it was like so dangerous and like if I just was standing in front of the house it was like not safe because like people would walk by who are like
Yeah.
sketchy and but I was just walking everywhere all the time. I would walk to Center City. I would walk like to all these different neighborhoods where you actually could hang out and outside. But I was like gardening. I was in the backyard having fires with my friends. Which that's a really rare experience in Philly to be able to like have a bonfire.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was excited about all those things, but yeah, it was very scary.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely like having to make those abrupt changes and
Mhm.
stuff when you realized you were settling. Like it's a
Yeah,
lot to do. And so many women do have to do that and have the courage
yeah,
to do that and just make those fast actions. And like you're making actions that aren't as comfortable as the life you had before and put
mhm,
you in like an environment or a situation where you might not be as comfortable. But at the end of the day, when like you're by yourself and you're safe and you don't have a partner who isn't treating you well or toxic, like it can still be better,
yeah.
than staying in a situation you shouldn't.
Yeah, honestly, it's so funny. I was flying so high after leaving that relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have told me anything that would have brought me down. Like you could have tested me and like taken some of my blood and made a drug from it because I was just so high on life. And it's like that was the like living in a really crappy house that was like falling over and like in a really scary area was worth it to have the freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Creating an
yeah.
environment like as a woman, like in your home, no matter if you own it, you're renting, you're co-oping with people, like to have an environment where you feel comfortable and safe and
Mhm.
there's no stress or there's no aggression from a man is
Yeah.
really life-changing. Like for your mind, for your nervous system, for your body, it really is.
Yeah. It really is. And come to think of it, because I've been reflecting the last few months about how like I I've only had a roommate a couple of times and every time it was a man. And
Hmm.
and I was
Yeah.
like, man, like because there's a few YouTubers I really love and some of them have had like female roommates and you get to see their vlogs. I'm like, that looks so fun and I'm kind of sad like I didn't ever experience that. Like I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of my friends moved back from college and they lived at home and then they kind of like moved out with their relationships.
Yeah.
They didn't move to the city alone. So it wasn't really like I had a I mean, I had a lot of best girlfriends, but like none of them lived in the city. So it would have been so fun to like have a female roommate where like we could have like hung out and like been girlfriends and like had sleepover energy and like, but
Yeah.
I do think that maybe a positive of me having those like male roommates was that they were safe men who deeply cared about me and who would have protected me the best they could from anything.
Mhm.
And like they were there for me emotionally. Like yeah, because we lived in an
Yeah.
unsafe area. So like they would make sure I got home okay and like make sure if I needed to go to the laundromat, like maybe we could go at the same time and like there were
Hmm.
situations in which something happened and so they were comforting me and they're like, "Do you want me to go to the police? Do you want me to go find them?" Like what
Hmm.
so yeah, it's just I'm like, wow, I wonder if that was like healing to have those
Yeah.
safe masculine like friends around during that time. I probably was, which I never thought about that. But yeah. Anyway, so
I think so.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Because
Would
there
you
are,
like
I was gonna say
what?
there are a lot of great men out there, and the hope
Yeah.
is that, like when these great men who do treat women correctly and, you know, like are just decent humans, when they
Yeah.
have sons, they'll raise them that way. Hopefully they rub off on their friends, they stand up for things that shouldn't be happening to women or speak up, kind of like some of the men that you referenced.
Yeah.
And then it just makes the world like a safer, happier place, especially for women.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the times I realized that I was settling was when I realized my partner stopped kissing me goodnight. Yes.
Um,
And like, so like in a relationship, you can get into a routine or a rut, right? So I would never be like, oh, he didn't kiss me goodnight one night, I'm breaking up with him. Like, it's not like that. Like, I voiced to the partner, like, you stopped kissing me goodnight. And like, I miss that. So, like, bringing it up because everybody gets busy. But when that disappeared and like didn't come back, I feel like I was like, wow, I'm settling because if I'm like laying next to the man I love that loves me at night and he's not even making an effort to like lean over and kiss me goodnight, like, that's sad.
yeah.
That's not something I wanted.
Especially when you said that that was something that mattered to
Hmm.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, because right, people are exhausted. They have long days. So like, yeah, your partner could get into bed and not think anything of it if it's, if they've had a long day or they have things on their mind. But that was definitely something that made me realize I was settling.
Wow.
I've also had like I've seen myself have like adverse physical reactions being in a relationship, like health reactions. And that has given me pause. Like, wow, I'm settling because this man is literally making like me pick my nails or like, like my levels have changed and I'm not as healthy or like I'm fatigued all the time because I'm stressed. And like, so I think there's a lot of like physical signs that women can get and that
I
their bodies
remember
react to.
you were having like half your face swell up
Yes.
and like
So,
your armpit.
yeah, so I would have a lymph node in my face that would swell when I would get super stressed. And it only started to happen after I had cancer almost 4 years ago. And it was something that happened after I had cancer that they couldn't figure out. And they thought it was all different things. And they MRI'd it and they ultrasounded it and everything. And it's fine. And it literally would be right here when I would get stressed. And in my last relationship, it would happen a lot. And
Yeah.
I remember there was a day that I was pretty upset over a fight that had happened with my partner. And I went to my mom's house and I wouldn't confide in her a lot about my relationship stuff, but I had like been reaching a breaking point. And I went to her house upset. And she was like, Amber, look at you. She was like, the side of your face is swollen. Like, this man is affecting your health. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And she's like, you can't let somebody affect your health like this, but it was. So I think like women paying attention to their bodies can be like a huge sign that you're settling and you shouldn't.
Yeah. And like we love our mom very, very, very much. And coming from her, that's like, whoa, that's a lot. Because like,
Yeah, and I think she had a lot of
yeah.
concerns for a while, but like many people, like when you're in someone's life, you kind of like will keep them from them because,
Yeah.
like if you talk shit about their partner and they stay with them or marry them and stuff, and then like you don't know if they're going to treat you a certain way or look at you a certain way because like you talked about my person. So I do
Yeah.
think it took a lot for her to be honest with me.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I think another sign that you're settling is when you start to make decisions that you know you wouldn't make if you weren't in this relationship.
Yeah.
And that happened to me a lot in the last year. And every
Yeah.
time it happened, I lost a little part of me and I knew it, but I let myself be talked into something or making a decision or put someone else's needs before mine. And that's definitely, something that should not be ignored.
Yeah. Well, that I feel like that kind of goes into the bucket of like caring about how you feel
Hmm.
and like trusting your opinion and trusting what you have to say about a situation. And
Hmm.
you were used to and encouraged to by all the men to like outsource that self-authority.
Yeah.
And it was that was definitely something that you like had like you were like, I feel like this is wrong. I just don't know how to feel. I just don't know how to not do that. I don't know how to trust
Hmm.
myself enough to not do that
Yeah.
anymore. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think at any point when you start making changes to your finances, your
Hmm.
career, things you're doing with your children, the way you're
Oh
spending your
God.
time. Like how you said it's very important to keep those close friendships when you're in a relationship. If you
Yeah.
start to see your friendships tapering off because you were just completely centering your partner and you weren't making time for those friendships and stuff, I think that's a big clue. And I think I had a relationship where I will say 90% of my friends were vocal about not liking my partner
Mm.
towards the end of my relationship. And I remember being like, yeah, I'm settling. I'm
Yeah.
settling because they have not been around my partner a lot and they don't like him.
Mhm.
And it's not just one friend who's, got rubbed the wrong way. It's like four friends at this point.
Yeah.
So, and I think keeping those close relationships and those close girlfriends or guy friends, is really important because like when things really are starting to go off the rails and like you're just so deep in, you can't see it yourself. When you have those outside people bring it up, I think like it can redirect you and see like, oh, like I think maybe I am settling or I'm accepting behavior that I shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, that's why men hate gossip because women share stories and experiences, and other women are like, hey, that's not normal. That's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. And then
Mhm.
we speak and then we do something about it. But men are like, you should really not gossip. It's bad.
Mhm. I did
Became a
have
taboo thing.
I'm trying not to say which one's from what, but I did have a relationship where my partner, looking back, I could see him getting rid of people in my life that were more vocal. Like
Yeah.
girlfriends that like were very close to me that he couldn't kind of get into and get close with, like cut, you know, didn't like the husband, didn't want to hang out anymore, you know, didn't want to be around that person's kids, you know. So I think like that's something too. Like if you find yourself like cutting girlfriends out of your life, friends out of your life because like your partner doesn't want to hang out and stuff, like that's settling. Like
Yeah.
I'm spending less time with some of my really close friends for my partner, and I shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah. Or if your partner doesn't like, if they're like really triggered by a friend or a family member you have that is like has autonomy and freedom, like
Mhm.
like I definitely triggered.
Yeah. Well, I worried about that when I became single because like most of the women I know are married, you know,
Mhm.
there's not a lot of divorced women out here. And like, I was wondering if their husbands were going to be like, I don't want you to hang out with Amber. Or I don't want you to go to out with Amber to get drinks because Amber might be talking to guys. And if Amber's talking to guys and they're coming close, and now maybe you're talking to guys. So it does create this dynamic, but like, it has to be in a man to be like, I don't know, like a man should be like steady in
Yeah.
who they are, what they provide, that they treat their partner well enough, that they're not talking to other men, they're not, you know, doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous. Okay, another moment I knew I was settling was Um, and this is, I'm gonna just put a trigger warning here because this is like a sensitive topic, and I don't really think I've ever shared this on the internet.
Mhm.
I've actually very rarely shared this with like friends, but or like people in my circles or who knew me at the time. But so with one of those exes that we were together 3.5 years and lived together, we got pregnant and had an abortion, but I was extremely sick to the point where they were like, even if you didn't want one, we would probably suggest it because this is like not normal. Like everything you've been experiencing is not normal. So I did, and it was very early on. But it, so we had that, but then I was hospitalized for an infection and um and I couldn't work because I was so sick even before we found out that I was
Mhm.
pregnant. I like was having a really hard time working. I was working at a bar. I had to call out. They fired me. And so I lost my job. I wasn't able to pay my car payment. My car got taken away. And my ex had bought a house, and since he had put so much money down, and we were moving in together, I paid like a few months in advance of like rent.
Mhm.
Um, which is like if you're ever moving in with a partner or a man and you've been dating for years, you don't pay rent. You're
Yeah.
not paying rent. Like, no.
Yeah.
So, but I was like 27, 28, 27, 28. And again, this relationship was a big improvement off of the last one. So it was like,
That's a problem sometimes when you're like coming from the bottom and you just go up like one tier. You're like, oh, this is so much better, but you're still
yes.
pretty close to the bottom.
Yeah, you're still a bottom dweller at that point. Like
Yeah.
you're still with the bottom
Get
dwellers at
out of the
that
swamp,
point.
girl. Let's go.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I was trying to climb out the swamp. But so I had paid a few months of rent in advance. So during all of this stuff that was happening, I still like had paid rent. So it was like because I wanted to help him because he put so much money down and then basically had like nothing. But anyway, so we moved in and all this was happening. And then the month came where it was like I didn't have a job. I was still recovering from being so sick and from this like traumatic experience. And during it, he was not helpful at all. He was actually mad at me for being sick. He was angry with me for going to the hospital, resented me for getting sick and for him needing to like take care of me or be sensitive because I was always the one holding the solid ground and he was emotionally unstable. He was a Cancer man. It's crazy because my fiance now is a Cancer, but when we met, I was like, "Oh, you're a Cancer. I cannot date you." I was like, "I
Yeah.
cannot date you. You are not an emotionally safe person." He was like, "I like to think I'm different." And I was like, "No, every Cancer man I've is like my ex is and every other woman I've known who has dated a Cancer man, it's been the same story." And I was like,
Yeah.
"I can't date you." And he was like, "Well, I really would love a chance to prove you different." And for some reason, I don't know, he has a lot of fire in his chart. He's like mostly fire with like, but his big ones are water. So I don't know, but it works. He's different somehow, but lucky for him. But yeah, but with my ex, I always held the solid ground. So like if I couldn't be the one holding the safe space, the solid ground, and I was sick and I needed something, he couldn't handle it. And he was very much more of the feminine one.
Yeah.
And I told him this and we talked about it. And afterwards we had a lot of conversations about everything. But yeah, he was mad at me for the whole situation. And wasn't helpful during the abortion, like wasn't helpful with helping me get food, helping me take medications. I had an allergic reaction to one of the medications. It just was very awful. And then he got mad at me when it came up to be the month that I couldn't pay,
Mm.
that I wasn't going to be able to pay.
Wow, even though you had lost your job and you were so sick and you were sick because of things that like
Yeah,
he was a
because
big
of
part
what
of.
we both did.
Yes.
I was the only one experiencing the negative concept. And on top of that, he was mad at me and making everything harder.
That's definitely a sign that you're settling. Yeah,
Yeah.
because, and it's like when you go through really hard things with a partner, then you
Yeah.
see like what kind of side you get out of them. You
Yes.
know?
Well, but that was the moment. So when all of that happened, that was a huge awakening. That was a huge yeah, that was a huge turning point. And I had convinced him to use, well, I was applying to a bunch of jobs and then I also was trying to get my business off the ground at the time. And I was like, whatever one happens first is just what I'm gonna go with, but like I'm gonna figure it out. So even though I shouldn't have had to deal with any of that, I shouldn't have been pressured. I shouldn't, like, yeah, the whole situation should have been different, but it wasn't. Anyway, it was good because it led to everything that's happened and all these lessons. But I convinced him to allow me to put $600 for a business course on his credit card. And it was a monthly payment. And so that way I could join this program. And the first month of me starting my business, I made $1,500. The second month I made 5 grand. And then the third month I made 13 grand. So
Wow.
because I was like, this has to work because I need to move out and dump this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it
I,
motivates
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I need to be able to move out and I need to find a safe space that's just my own and I need to get away from this person because yeah, I'm settling and they don't care about me. And that is why I'm such a believer that like men should pay. Men should pay for everything because you're the one putting your body on the
Mhm.
line and it doesn't matter how old you are. You're still the one at risk. And like a man should be very invested in your health and well-being. So like making sure you have a roof over your head, you have food, you have healthcare, like you have everything you need. Again, I'm not saying don't be independent and like do those things for yourself. Like you don't need to rely on a man, but a man should be like, I want to invest in your well-being and your health and safety. And if anything were to happen, I would have your back and I would be there for you. I think if it's not that scenario, you're with someone who's a leech and they need to go. I think they're not safe for a woman to be with and they need to go. So,
Well, and I think it's like surprising, right? Like you hear that story and you're like, oh my gosh, how could he not be there for her? How could he not be taking care of her or
mhm.
understanding? But like I've had two partners where I've had like medical problems or like an injury. And I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I was taken care of properly. And I didn't feel like in either scenario, my needs or feelings were put above theirs when I was weak or when I was vulnerable. And like that happened with two men, and they were both very different.
Yeah.
So it's surprising, and you would think it doesn't happen, but it does.
Yeah.
So, and I think like when stuff like that happens, it's so eye-opening and like just take it for what it is. Because if it happens once in the relationship, it will happen again.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of a relationship is to be with somebody who makes you feel safe and loved and taken care of on both sides.
Yeah.
And if you can't even do that at the basic level of like medical problems,
Mhm.
like what are you doing?
And
You
something
know?
that's a result of both of you. So like having sex, like we both did that. We both created that result.
Yes, for that
And like,
situation for sure.
yeah. And I remember he gave me such crap about taking half a day off of work to take me to the appointment for the abortion. And he
Oh
paid for
my,
half of it, I think.
that's past settling. That's
That,
just,
yeah.
that is like,
No,
that's not even like you settled. That is just something nobody should accept or tolerate ever.
like being with the child. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But,
I'm sure there's a ton of women who have gone through that and had to make those choices. And,
yeah.
you know, physically, I'm sure it's very uncomfortable after and comes with a whole bunch of things. And like to have a partner who's not supportive or makes it seem like it's an inconvenience is
Yeah.
just like wild.
It is literally the worst pain in the entire world. It's so traumatic. It lasts for like, it's like 12 hours of the most excruciating pain. It feels like someone's stabbing you and ripping your guts out 1 centimeter at a time. And you're on fire and you're bleeding and you're being stabbed at the same time. It feels like people who say that women use abortions as birth control are like are complete idiots. Like they're full of shit because like
Like, who
nothing
would
can
want to
take
do
this
that?
pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the women that were in that room besides me were mothers who had children with them because they didn't have anyone to watch their kid.
That's
So
so,
they were single moms who were there and it just yeah, it's so ignorant. But Ben, meanwhile, on the over there on the
hmm.
uh what's it called on the
Counter?
counter, there's flowers and there's a little pouch that has a bath bomb and soap and a candle that he found this little like pouch, because I said I was tired from our Canada adventure and from the trip to New York with our family and then doing the Psych K training as soon as we got home, and we were also hosting a friend who was visiting from Germany, and I was like, I'm just so tired. I just need to like do nothing and relax. So he got me flowers and a little kit
Very
for,
nice to relax.
yeah. And he was like,
Yeah.
let me know when you want that and I'll like draw a bath for you. And
See, and a man that like puts your needs up high and like listens,
mhm,
right? Like he listened and then he took some action. Something as simple as that. Like it doesn't have to be these like extravagant, expensive gifts or outings and stuff. It's just like a man who like hears you
mhm,
and cares about you and then
yeah.
took like a small action, and that just means so much, you know?
Yeah.
Very sweet.
So cute. I came home from Starbucks and it was just like,
Aw,
yeah, waiting. And it was
love
probably
that.
like $20, $25, but he was shopping, he was getting groceries at Whole Foods and saw it and was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so I think another time I knew I was settling was when I had a partner and I saw him be mean and rude to someone working in like an ice cream shop.
I knew that was going to be the example. Yeah.
And yeah, because like it's just like if you're gonna be rude to someone working in an ice cream store, I felt like am I settling? Is this person not the person I think they are? You know what I mean? Like, I just think it takes a certain kind of character to even do that. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I think most people in general are like extra nice to people who work in fields where they're like serving people, you know, like waitresses, waiters, bartenders, like,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, to see like a grown man and like do that, I was like, all right, am I settling here?
Yeah.
You know,
Wow. Yeah, because it's like you're getting ice cream. Like that's a joyful experience.
who's
Like,
mad in the ice cream store? Like, and this poor kid who's making $14 an hour,
Yeah.
maybe you're giving him shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, everything's
Yeah.
cool. Everything's cool. There's ice cream, there's candy, there's, who's getting upset in here? But he did.
Yeah.
And it sounds so simple, right? And it's like one of those things that like that time ended up getting brought up a couple times.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that it's like everybody has a bad day and everybody loses their cool, but like sometimes something happens that's just like so out of place that you're like, there's something in someone's character,
Yeah.
that's probably below a standard that I should be holding my partner to,
Hmm.
you know?
Wow. Yeah. I remember that.
Hmm.
Oh man. Okay. I feel like these are such good examples.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh yeah. Lots of times. Well, I think I mentioned this to you the other day, but I'll say it for the podcast. It was like during COVID times, I was like just starting to date again. I had taken time off to learn about relationships and healing, and I was like in this membership with this like expert for like a year and was celibate and like learning about relationships. And I started to date again. And there was this guy, he was making like six figures, very cute, 6'1", gentleman. Like he looked up, he took me to a museum because he knew I liked art, and he looked up if the museum, because it was a new museum that popped up in Philly. So he looked up if they had water fountains because during COVID they weren't letting people drink from
Yeah.
water fountains. And it said no. So he like packed water bottles for us
Aw.
and like snack, yeah, just like an extra level of thought that like I at that time I had never experienced. And I was
Mm.
like, whoa. And
Yeah.
he opened doors, paid for everything.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like, oh my God, I attracted someone better. Like all the things I'd been learning about, I attracted someone better. But so what happened when I knew I was settling, was he lived in this like nice new construction home in Philly, which a lot of like people, a lot of dudes rent those houses. It's funny in Fishtown, there's like these like $700,000 new construction homes that are like 5 bedroom, 4 or 5 bedroom, 3 stories tall. And like a lot of dudes end up renting those with their friends. And so he was in one of those. It was a couple months until he was moving out into his new apartment, but his friends who had lived in that house had all moved out with like a girlfriend or something. And so he was the last one of the original people. And it was all these younger guys, like mid-20s,
Yeah.
younger guys. And so he like didn't really resonate with them. They drank and partied a lot and were loud and like messy. And it really stressed him out. And he was moving out in like 2 months. So it was a temporary thing, but they were having a party. He invited me to the party. I went to the party. Of course, I'm in the backyard around the fire talking to all these girls about relationships and trauma, and they're like spilling their guts to me, and we're like healing
Mm.
and crying. So
I love it.
all the girlfriends and of these like young 20 idiots, dudes. So the music is like blasting, the back door's open, and the guy I was dating kept shutting it because the neighbors. So it was open and a neighbor came out, this man, and like screamed and was like, "You better shut that door. I'm calling the cops. Like, this is the last time I'm ever gonna tell you guys." Like, just was screaming at the top of his lungs. So the guy I was dating went inside the house and screamed at everyone in the house, like at his roommates, but like there were a lot of people. So it was like everyone was getting screamed at. Like
Yeah.
he was loud and for like screaming. And he like slammed the door shut, like not super hard, but just like slammed it. And he came back and I was like, I have to go. And he was like, why? Like, why? What's wrong? Like, I'm sorry about my roommates. Like, they're the worst. And I was like, no, you felt justified to yell at these guys. I was
Mm.
like, granted, they're being dumb and like that's stressful that you were yelled at, but one day you're gonna find a reason to validate, to think it's okay that you like that you can yell at me that
Yeah.
same way. Like
Yeah.
one day you're gonna justify yelling at me the way that you did them. And I was like, that was violent, and I'm not gonna wait to see
Yes.
when you'll find a reason to treat me the same way.
I totally agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
shocked and he was like, I'm not like that. I'm the gentlest person ever. I would never, I'm so sorry. I absolutely would never treat. And he was like begging me to like stay and to give him a chance. And I was like, no. And I left because it's just like,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you have a partner and you can see them justify treating their parents a certain way, their siblings a certain way, their friends a certain way, other people they've been in relationships with, I do think it
neighbors.
should give like neighbors, like it should give you a pause to think like, okay, like eventually a day will come and they will treat me that way. Because
Yeah.
it's just what they're capable of, you know?
Yeah. Well, honestly,
Um,
yeah, I don't mean to share something that maybe you don't want me to. I feel like it'll be fine, but you can cut this out if you don't.
Okay.
Um, but like your ex-husband used to like say rude things about our mom
hmm
and like make fun of her, and that would always make me mad. And I'm like, I regret all the times not saying anything because,
Yeah.
but it's like that would always piss me off. And it's like, of course, he felt like it was okay to call her silly and stupid, and like he disrespected you too.
Well, how
And
many times did you bring up to me that he would like make a joke about me, like that would be like underhanded,
mhm,
like insult, but it's disguised as a joke, you
yeah,
know? So like that's definitely settling. Yeah, my ex would take any chance he could to like make a joke that kind of cut me down, you know? Even as something as like oh, Amber's cooking dinner tonight. We better turn the fire alarms off. Like he would make jokes like that all the time, and I would be
mhm,
like, not once have I burnt something to the point where a fire alarm goes off. Like, why are you even making that joke? It was like any chance to like undercut. So like that's
yeah,
definitely settling, accepting that, you know?
yeah.
And that's like a partner who tries to hold you down. I
But
have
they
a
try to make
friend,
it seem harmless, like, oh, it's just
yes.
harmless teasing.
Yeah. And then you explain like, well, like it's funny to you, but if it hurts my feelings and it's not actually a joke anymore, you know, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Um, Another time I realized I was settling, and this is a funny one. It was with my ex-husband, and it was my first birthday after I got cured from having cancer.
Mm,
I was so excited because, like, being totally honest, I was getting in my late 30s, and the last few birthdays before I got diagnosed with cancer, I had a hard time with them. It was like a vanity thing. I kept thinking, oh my God, I'm getting older, I'm getting close to 40, and it made me feel like less attractive, less pretty, you know, all those fears that women have as they get
yeah.
older. And so when I got cancer and I got cured and I got better, all I could, like when I had cancer, all I thought was, oh my God, am I going to make it to my 38th birthday? When I didn't know what stage I was, if it spread, all these things. So then when I did make it to my 38th birthday, I was so excited. Like never once have I had a birthday that I've dreaded anymore. Like 8 years from now, when I turn 50, I'm going to be so excited. And before I
Yeah.
probably would have been in bed all day, you know? Like I feel so lucky. I feel grateful. So it was my first birthday after having cancer. It meant so much to me. I think I assumed that it meant so much to him because of just what it represented. And he got me a lunchbox. That was my present. Okay. And I'm not saying it had to be an expensive present. He got me a lunchbox so I could pack my lunch for work because I was in the office again. And that was all he did. He didn't take me to dinner. He didn't put anything together with our friends. He didn't write me a card, nothing. And like my girlfriends took me out for breakfast, and if they hadn't done that, I would have done nothing for my birthday. And it just made me feel like, oh my God, I'm settling.
Yeah.
Because like he doesn't understand the importance of this birthday. He didn't do anything. And at first I thought I was being too much because like I was never used to getting much anyway. He never made a big deal about me. You know,
Yeah.
like anything to celebrate me didn't happen. And like so at first I was like putting my needs down, thinking like, well, maybe I'm thinking too much about it. Maybe it just means something to
Yeah,
me.
you're the problem because
Yeah,
you
maybe it shouldn't mean this much to my husband that I got to celebrate another birthday. But then our beautiful mother dropped me off a card that was probably $3.99 in my mailbox and said, I left you a card. And she wrote this beautiful thing inside of it about how grateful she was that her daughter got to experience another birthday and
Mm.
how amazing it was that I got another birthday and I got to turn 38. And I read her card and I was like, oh my God, she gets it. She validated everything I was feeling, all of the greatness that that day represented. And I was like, I am settling.
Yeah.
This is not what I deserve. I don't deserve a lunchbox on my birthday, and I don't deserve to not have anything else, you know? And it's not about the money either. So that
No.
was something that made me realize I was settling. And there was another time recently with gifts that made me realize I was settling.
Didn't he say that he was going to get you a toothbrush, but went for the lunchbox instead?
Oh, no, I don't want to take away from him. He also got me a toothbrush. That is true.
Okay.
It was a new electric toothbrush. So, yeah. So, okay, I got two gifts. Neither one really did it. You know, like the
Oh,
toothbrush
Lord.
is like, oh, honey, I was thinking about you and I was at Target and I noticed you needed a new toothbrush, so I got it for you. It's
Yeah.
not, I'm saving up your new toothbrush for your birthday.
No. Yeah.
And then another thing with gifts in a relationship I had, we celebrated our first Christmas together and he got me a bunch of gifts, which was super sweet and nice, right? Because like it's hard. Like, not all couples get each other gifts, especially when you have kids. The holidays get super expensive. But he did get me gifts, which was nice. But he did not wrap a single gift. So I had maybe like six gifts, but they were all handed to me in Amazon boxes. And it
Yeah.
just like, I was just looking around at the environment I had created for Christmas in my home, also created the same thing in his home with stockings and a Christmas tree and did cookies and all of this stuff and had all these gifts wrapped for everybody. I had gifts for him in his house. I had gifts for him in my house. They were all wrapped. I did it ahead of time. It took me weeks. I shipped it certain places, got the stuff, and he just like handed me Amazon boxes. And I would have much preferred one gift that cost anything
Yeah.
that was wrapped, even if it looked like shit, because he couldn't wrap a gift,
Yeah.
and was like given to me with love and like something he picked out and something like he thought I would like. And, you know, so like, and I understand the holidays get like busy, but like that
No,
made
he
me
had no
realize
excuse. Yeah.
I lowered my standards for
Yeah.
sure. Because it wasn't about the gift, it wasn't about how much money is spent. It's the
Yeah.
fact that like I was sitting there on Christmas for our first Christmas, which was supposed to be so special, and I was opening Amazon gift boxes.
Yeah.
Like they just like I was getting them off the porch, you know?
Yeah. God.
So it's these little
So
things that
lame.
you have to like women, like I feel like as women, like and look, I made excuses, right? We're busy, we're traveling, there's kids, there's all this
Yeah.
stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like he just didn't care enough. And like when
Mhm.
we stop all the excuses, we can look at these real examples in a relationship and think we really are settling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he didn't get what I got. He got wrapped gifts that were loved and thoughtful and you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Also, the whole like, I don't know how to wrap gifts, like that was such a stupid excuse because I feel like men who truly think that, they just go get gift bags.
yeah.
They just get gift bags and like tissue paper and they just shove it in and they're like done. Like
You
they
know what? Like
they don't.
honestly, as a woman, if a man handed me a perfectly wrapped gift, or if he handed me a gift that looked like it had like 2 tons of wrapping paper on it and like 3 rolls of tape, I would think that is cuter.
Yeah.
That would be like endearing to me. I'd be like, oh my God, look, he tried so hard. It was hard, but he did it. And he took the
Yeah.
time. Like that would be cuter to me than like a perfectly wrapped gift because it just shows the effort that went into it.
Yeah. My fiance for my birthday, I was like, I want really girly pink wrapping. I want the I was like, I want this and this and this. I just constantly say what I want all the time. I just
Yeah.
constantly, but if I didn't, he still would have wrapped it. He still would have like done something cute. Um, yeah, like if I was really upset one night over someone that I knew who had passed away and he was like, "You know what? He's like, we need to nourish your inner child. So we went to Whole Foods because again, it's like it's right next to our house, like literally across the street. So
Yeah.
we went to Whole Foods, just like popped in because and I've been crying, so like I'm not trying to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But we popped in and he we like picked out a cute like candle and like a little stuffed animal and like a coloring book and and something else and like some snacks, like just lots of snacks,
So
like
cute.
cookies, cake, ice cream, like
Yeah.
pizza, frozen pizza, like just like picked out all this food and these like little things. And I went home and it was one of those, I got a coloring book and then it was also one of those you know the rainbow pads that are like covered in black and you scratch it off and
Yeah.
it reveals the rainbow underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got like one of those thingies. And it's just like, it's just night and day, like the experience of being with a man who truly loves you and isn't a narcissist versus
Mhm.
being with narcissistic men who swear they love you, but there's just like all this evidence where they try to convince you that like your emotions are wrong and like wanting something so simple as like him taking the half an hour or like 20 minutes it would have taken to wrap those gifts
Yeah.
um
And I think
is
even
like
if like one gift had been wrapped, it would have been a little better because it was like, oh my gosh, I started to wrap, but then like time went away and like it would have just showed some kind of effort, you know?
yeah, but he could have said he could have been like give me 5 minutes, gone to the store, gotten scratch offs, came back home, gave it to the kids, and been like, you guys do these. I need 10 more minutes to finish wrapping, and then like finished wrapping.
Yeah.
Like there's when men want to make something happen, they will make it happen
Yes.
always.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's something honestly, like I never brought up in the relationship. Like I never was like, thanks for the Amazon boxes, you know? And like
Yeah.
to this day, I don't think he even gave it a second thought. He probably never even knew that it bothered me, you know? It was one of those silent things that happens in a relationship where it just makes you pause and think like, like this isn't really what I thought it was, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard to be honest with yourself. And it takes a
It-
lot of those little reminders to make you think like, okay, there's something better.
yeah. Well, when you're in it and you're reprogramming what is possible because maybe you've never seen it before. So it's
Hmm.
like you're trying to
True.
believe. It's like believing in the tooth fairy. It's like I've never seen it. So I don't
Mhm.
know. Is
Yeah, I mean,
real?
like, and I was coming from getting lunch boxes too.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, the bar was low. It was low.
Yeah.
And I just want
Yeah.
to
Oh,
reiterate, it doesn't matter what the actual gift is. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be a lot of
Well,
money.
I
Just like
disagree.
effort. Well, some people don't have the same needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But even if for me, I'm like my favorite things, like my Sweet 16, we went to Taco Bell. Like it's not
But you took a
like,
limo, to be
but
fair.
like, but they literally said you can eat wherever. And I
Mhm.
said Taco Bell.
Yeah, yeah. And it was
You
probably
know,
awesome.
it's yeah. So it's like a man, if they're having financial struggles, you should actually like, I mean, obviously, unless you're living together, have a deeper commitment or children, there's, you know what I mean? Like, if you're just dating a guy, you should actually like not know if they're like a little short on money because they should be able to like take you on a picnic and like find a really beautiful like field of flowers that they
Mm.
researched and then like your favorite drink is like orange juice or pineapple juice or cherry. So they bring your favorite juice that they got from the grocery store, and maybe they have like some cute thrifted cups and a blanket, and then they have like an activity book of like word searches, and you just like lay in the sun and drink juice and eat snacks and like do these little cute little games, and then they like take pictures of you on like a disposable camera. Like that date would be like 20 bucks, like
Yeah.
not even.
Yeah, there's
And that
ways
would
to
be
do it for
so
sure.
cute.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about imagination and if there's a will, there's a way. And I do think the gifts matter. I think because I remember I was dating someone and we were younger, but he was very materialistic and very much into things that I just did not give a crap about. Like he wanted like bottle service and like VIP area and like designer stuff. And at the time, I didn't care about any of that. And also, I was like, he was 21, I was 19. But I remember it was Christmas or Valentine's Day. I got him this like $300 watch, and he got me flowers. And yeah, see, the gift
Mm,
matters. And I was like, and I didn't even like at the time, I like didn't like flowers as a gift.
yeah.
Now I love flowers, but like I think flowers should just happen. I buy myself flowers all the time, but I
Yeah.
like yeah, but like my fiance comes home with flowers every week because he's like, "Oh, I noticed the old ones were dying and like we need to have flowers in the house for you." 'Cause, so like it's just a
Oh, that's so
given. It's not a
nice.
gift. It's
Yeah.
like I mean, it is lovely and but it's yeah, so I remember being like, "You son of a bitch." Like but like not wanting to seem ungrateful or like stuck up or like needy or materialistic because I'm a woman and I love him for who he is. And so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like being so scared of being like pegged in a certain way, but when really it's just about reciprocity and respect.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
And just
yeah.
taking the time to make an effort.
Yeah, just
That's all
making
real women really want is to like know that you care and that you're willing to make an effort for them.
yeah, that you're
So,
listening and that they care and paying attention. Because again, if he was like, if he didn't have money because he was a college student, which I didn't have money, I also was in school and like paying for school myself and working full time and like struggling. But like, if he didn't have any money, he could have been like, I planned a scavenger hunt for us, and then
mhm.
we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna make you an amazing meal, and like, I blah blah blah. Like, that would have been so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, yeah, just that it was settling for
Settling for sure.
yeah. But okay, I feel like we really gave many examples.
I mean, to the point where I just need to start making better choices. And I'm sure we've all been there. So be easy on yourselves out there, right?
Yeah, it's well, you don't know. Again, if you're like coming from the bottom, so it's like a few steps up seems like great, but it's like, oh no, there's
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
way more growth that can happen.
Yeah, so share us examples that you've experienced or times when you've been in a relationship and realized you were settling. We would love to hear about them and compare them. And we've definitely all been there and still stayed longer than we should have. So
Yeah. Yeah. Liberate yourself and
that's
have high
right.
standards and don't be afraid to come across like a bitch.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm scared of that. That's something I'm trying to learn.
Really?
Sam's good at that.
Yeah.
It's just not like my normal, but
Well, 9 times out of 10, like if you think you're coming across as a bitch because you're just saying no or standing up for yourself, it's like you actually probably aren't coming across that way at
I
all.
know.
It's
I don't
just
know if I've ever really truly come across that way.
no, no, you haven't. And I feel like maybe only a handful of times have I ever come across that way too.
Yeah.
But there are hundreds of times I felt like, oh my God, I'm being a bitch because I'm like saying I can't do something because I'm trying to honor my own needs instead of just doing what they want me to do. And it's, yeah,
Yeah, but I definitely think like, look, I should have been like, this lunchbox for my birthday doesn't cut it after I had cancer. Like you should be
yeah,
celebrating me, whether you're writing me a card just like my mom did, or you're saying stay in bed on your birthday, honey, and I'm gonna make you breakfast and bring it up. Like something so simple. And the Christmas example, I should have been like, thanks for all the gifts, but it was kind of shitty that you didn't wrap them.
yeah.
You
I
know?
would have loved them wrapped. I don't know why you
Yeah.
didn't make
So
time for
like,
them. Yeah,
yeah, so I will definitely speak up more in the future,
yeah,
and I'm hoping other women will too. And if you're not being treated right, you should go.
yeah.
Because there are plenty of men out there.
There are so many men. You could
A
throw a
lot of
rock
them
and
have
hit a
good
tree.
manners and know how to treat you.
Yes,
So,
so many.
yeah.
It's bananas. But thank you so much for being here with us. Give us a like, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. And we're so excited for next week. We will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.